Yeah. Okay, so welcome. As my colleague Goran mentioned, so I'm Camille Seni. I'm a director of marketing development of Eastern Europe for Swiss Education Group, and welcome to this webinar, which is organized in cooperation with our partner MSM company in Russia. So I will start with a few words about Swiss Education Group. So we are an alliance of 4 leading hotel schools and also 1 culinary arts academy. Today, we have the pleasure to welcome Ms. Sofia Konovalova. She's a student from Russia who is currently doing a 2nd semester of study in Switzerland at IHTTI. Just to explain a little bit the situation, we don't have at the moment any physical classes face-to-face due to the virus, so the lessons are taking place via our virtual learning environment. She will shortly provide you with relevant information about the current studies via our virtual learning environment. We also have the pleasure to welcome Mr. Mike Behesht, mainly known as Mr. Agent of Excellence. I'm pretty sure he's going to mention this, this sentence later on. He's our academic dean of César Ritz colleges, Switzerland, at our Lucerne campus. It's a beautiful city in the German part of Switzerland. So if you've never been to Switzerland, I recommend you to go to Lucerne. It's a beautiful city by the lake, amazing bridge, and is the most touristic destination in Switzerland. At the moment, not that many tourists, but hopefully it should be, they should come back very soon. We also have today our dear colleagues from MSM. So you can see there is Oksana, Irina, Anastasia, and I think also a few ladies. I saw Violetta and some other on the attendees. So Oksana, she's going to say a few words later on and introduce MSM so you get a better idea about what they are offering in terms of services to our students. And the last but not the least, Mr. Goran, my colleague Goran, even though he talks a lot about IT, is not our working in the IT department. He's my colleague, he's our head of marketing development for Eastern Europe. He's been traveling to Russia and also lots of interesting countries like Kazakhstan. And he's going to reply to your questions on the chat. So if you have any questions on the chat, Goran is also going to be there to answer all the questions. So now some technical information. If you arrive later, Goran already mentioned it. So during presentation, all of you are going to be muted, but you can ask your questions on the chat. So my colleague from MSM, as well as Goran and I, we're going to reply to all your questions. We're also going to organize a Q&A at the end of the presentation. You will just have to click on the button, raise your hand. It's at the bottom of the Zoom application. And then we're going to unmute you so you can ask your questions directly. And something really interesting about today is that, first of all, you had the chance to listen to Max Behesht, our academic dean, and also to learn more about Sofia and her studies in Switzerland. But on the top of that, Mr. Max is going to give you the possibility to take part in one project. And the winner is going to get personal online sessions, around 30 minutes with Max to discuss opportunities linked to the project. And for the second and the third place, the prize will be a 3,000 ruble voucher for an online bookstore in Russia. So please make sure to take part in this project, and Max is going to provide you with more information at the end of his presentations. Now, I also want to say a few words about the current situation, which is happening right now in the world. As you might know, most of the embassies around the world are currently closed, and students can't apply for a student visa. So what we are offering at Swiss Education Group is the opportunity for to start your studies off campus from your own country, so most of you from Russia, via our virtual learning environment in July, and you can get a 30% discount on our fees. Then, as long as the situation is going to evolve positively with the virus, we would be able to come, you will be able to come to our campus in October and enjoy your student life in Switzerland. Now, what I will do before we start official presentation with Max, I'm going to share with you one video about César Ritz colleges so that you can have a better idea about what we are offering in terms of academic program, campus facilities, and also the life in Switzerland, which is an amazing country. So let me just share my screen.
The screen is not there.
Okay, 1 second.
Excellent.
Whether you're working for a 5-star hotel or a Fortune 500 company, world-class service is always important. At César Ritz Colleges, Switzerland, business blends seamlessly with hospitality. With teaching based on the philosophy of César Ritz, considered the pioneer of luxury hospitality, our students are pillars of luxury, excellence, and service. As a bachelor student, you will have the choice to begin your studies on the scenic lake shores of the Bouvray or in the city center of Lucerne, enjoying easy access to major European destinations and city life, before spending your third and final year up at our Brig campus. With a strong focus on business, study in partnership with Washington State University, and your final year will accumulate in the WSU Business Plan competition. And by sharing a campus with Culinary Arts Academy students, not only will you be learning from the king of hoteliers, you'll be dining like one too. Moving on to your master's, in partnership with the University of Derby, you will be based full-time up at our Brig campus. It's the perfect place to immerse yourself in Swiss life, enjoying everything the Alps have to offer. As proud members of Swiss Education Group, our school is part of the largest private education group in Switzerland. This is your opportunity to meet your future employer at the biannual International Recruitment Forum and become part of the largest alumni network in the industry. By studying at César Ritz Colleges, you'll discover Switzerland, learn business, and live hospitality. Are you up for the challenge?
All right, so now I will let Oksana say a few words about MSM, and I see there are already many questions in the chat, so I'm going to join Goran and help him to answer all the questions in the chat.
Thank you, Kamil. If you don't mind, I will switch into Russian, okay? So I can in Russian, my mother tongue. Добрый вечер, да, дорогие наши студенты, партнеры. Мы так же, как и вы, сидим дома. И меня зовут Оксана Фирстова, я генеральный директор Международного союза молодежи, организатора сегодняшнего мероприятия. Безусловно, скучаем очень по нашим клиентам и студентам и рады видеть вас хотя бы вот в таком формате. Безумно счастливы. МСМ уже 13 лет занимается обучением за рубежом, и мы помогаем ежегодно порядка 3000 студентам поступить в лучшие университеты и школы мира. Swiss Education Group один из самых наших любимых партнеров, у нас там учится очень много студентов. Я знаю, что сегодня у нас присутствуют ребята еще из Праги. Прага, привет! Ребята, которые находятся у нас на программе двойного диплома, 2 года они учатся в Чехии, последний год они уезжают учиться в Швейцарию. И, как я говорю, мы всегда стараемся быть в курсе новинок и давать интересный и полезный контент нашим абитуриентам, их родителям, нашим партнерам. По 8 мероприятий мы проводили обычно в городах, где расположены наши филиалы, очно. Сейчас мы не можем это делать. Вот 8 апреля у нас должен был пройти очень интересный кейс-чемпионат со старшеклассниками в Москве в сфере индустрии гостеприимства с лидерами приглашенными. Но мы вот решили его трансформировать в такой формат онлайн-лекции. Как говорится, нет худа без добра. Теперь к нам могут присоединиться ребята не только из Москвы, но еще и со всей России. Мы сегодня видели замечательную географию участников нашего урока. Много говорить я не буду, я хочу вам дать возможность насладиться работой с Максом. Хочу просто сказать, что мы работаем в обычном режиме, мы удаленно, но каждый день мы на связи. Если какие-то у вас вопросы возникают по изучению языков, по подготовке к международным экзаменам, по поступлению, по онлайн-программам обучения за рубежом, которые сейчас тоже становятся очень популярны, мы здесь, и мы готовы ответить на все вопросы.
Оксана, есть вопрос по поводу двойных дипломов. I'll switch to English. If you can maybe share the link to download the brochure during the webinar, and then we can say more information at the end as well.
Sure, yes. We will send the information. Alina, sorry, yeah, I can see your question, so I will reply to it when I finish. So, Max, your turn now. I let everyone enjoy your wonderful lesson, and if you have any questions in English, по-русски, you can ask questions in chat. Thank you.
Спасибо, Oksana. Camille, would you like to say something before I start there?
Before you start, no, I just want to say that you look amazing, Max. I like the mirror on the back. You always look like, you know, with the, I feel bad I didn't wear the tie today. But no, all good. I'll let you run the show. You are excellent for this. So.
Спасибо. Thank you very much. So, добрый день, everybody. I would have wished and would have loved to be with all of you somewhere in beautiful Russia. I've only been there once, but I have a very special connection to Russia, and I have nothing but love for everybody in Russia, the lovely people there, an amazing hospitality that you have over there. And I frankly, I have to say, runs in my family a little bit, but I was there last year briefly and was nothing but amazing. And I'm looking forward to going back again. So that's the number one thing I'd like to say, that it's a pleasure to be here with all of you. And hopefully we can do this again very soon when we can travel again. And when we have overcome this situation that is crippling the world and creating massive challenges everywhere. And for all of you, and as students as well, if you're a student and you're currently studying, surely that situation for you has changed. And we on our end as educators trying to do our very best to change that situation. So following up on that, allow me to say that we'd like to share with you a little bit about what we are specifically doing to get you online with our best efforts. It's a true team effort across the Swiss Education Group. We have hundreds of colleagues working on this day in, day out right now, because this was not fully expected, but there is a lot of excellence and experience in the group, and that's what's showing. And so let me start by trying to share my slides and take you through a little bit of what the intention of the next come up, say 40 minutes is to share with you. So I'm going to start trying to share my slides here. And let's see where we stand.
Excellent.
Are we working?
Yes.
Perfect.
Yes, we are. My slides look slightly different on Zoom. I hope you'll see it well. And not much more about me. I am from Sweden and with a very mixed background, which includes Russia. And I am the Dean of César Ritz Colleges and Culinary Arts Academy in the beautiful city of Lucerne. As our dear colleague Camille said, it is the #1 tourism destination of Switzerland. And usually it is absolutely crowded with wonderful tourists from all over the world who are discovering this beautiful part of Switzerland and the rest of Switzerland for that matter as well. These days is rather empty. And as you can see that across the world, there are many other cities who are, but hospitality will continue. And we know that once this is over, the world will be a different place, but hospitality will again flourish. I have no doubt about that. And so going straight into the agenda of the day, ladies and gentlemen, we have this agenda. Talking about the VLE with SEG. I think that's a nice rhyme. VLEs being the virtual learning experience that we have. I will share a few of my personal tips about how I believe that you as a student, as a learner, can truly get online and have nothing but a great experience and a great learning experience where you come out of it and say, this is truly worth every minute of my time in my learning experience. Hopefully, the tips that I'm sharing with you is also useful for you. And then we have wonderful Sophia with us, who will also share her experience a little bit. And after that, we're going to go to the core meat of what we're going to talk about today, which is really how I believe the future might look in terms of your careers and the future of work generally, and how you are able to connect that to your specific passion and interests. And then we're going to also talk about, well, something that I am absolutely passionate about, which is the art of hospitality. Because for me, it's not simply an industry or a part of an industry. It is truly an art and also the art of life. Well, we'll get to that and you'll find out about my passions as we go on. And then we're going to get you a little project, as Mr. Camille said, and a little assignment. So your mission, should you choose to accept it, it's coming up later. And if you accept it, hopefully we can give you a little extra session together with me so we can discuss what your dreams are and how you can design them and how you can focus on achieving your dreams. Because at the end of the day, it's not only education we're here for, we are here to try to help you along the way in your life, for you to define an amazing career and really, truly realize your dreams in the best possible way. So, and then finally, of course, we're going to have some Q&A. So let's get it started. VLE with SEG, what does that mean? Frankly, we're trying to do our best, not only go from the classroom environment and duplicate that and replicate it in an online setting. We're trying to add a great deal of elements and tools which we have had as a competency across the group of Swiss Education Group. And we are trying to include these things all together and collectively bring them together, which is why all our schools are really working together and teaming up to make this experience the most amazing experience that one could ever have in an online environment. So it's all about being interactive on the learning. So you're gonna have the chance to, through our tools and methods, to connect with your teachers, to connect with your peers and other students on your class. So really, online, you're connected to all your peers across the world when you are with us through your devices, be it an iPad, mobile phone, be it a computer, etc., etc. We'll make sure you're connected using this wonderful software here, Zoom, that is enabling us to also record the sessions. So that also creates the possibility of joining our classes and our teaching possibilities live, but also all the content that we share, all the content we teach about will also be available for you at your convenience, at the convenience of our students at any time for them to go back and revise. And if they happen to be in a time zone which absolutely does not match ours, they will still be able to capture everything. So the mobile learning is truly enabled. Multimedia sessions, we have all forms of apps and video sessions that will connect and enhance the collaboration. We have wonderful polling and quiz apps. And we also have something that I really enjoy, which is called breakout rooms within Zoom. And once we are in that sessions, actually we can split each class into different groups. And it's like, basically you would walk into a different classroom and sit together and work in a little group on a specific topic or a subject. And then you would come back and the teacher could actually walk into that room virtually and have a discussion with only you in that group. And then all could join again up in the classroom and have a group discussion. So all these things are being made available and made available for our students. And we are only getting started. So if there is something this global pandemic has caused also is that we've brought together all our competencies and skills and strengths, and we're making sure that this becomes something that really never leaves Swiss education groups and stays with us to the best possible way in the future as well. Having said that, let me just go to my personal belief of what you could do as a learner. And we are all learners one way or another. We're all studying and we're all learning. And so what if you're an online learner? My belief and personal tips would be these three things. Like any story, like any experience, there is a before, there is a during, and there is an after. And those are the three things that I'd like to break down for you guys. And we're going to talk about 3 different tips on each and one of those topics. And I'm going to share with you what I believe you could do to enhance your learning. So let's go and straight away look into the before topic. I think before your session, you start, one of the fundamental things that I'll also be talking about later on today is you need to understand, appreciate why you are doing what you're doing, and really understand, where am I going with this? What is the objective of having these courses? What is the objective of having a program altogether? And once you understand your why, and if your why and vision is, well, I'm going to become this amazing professional in the future who's one way or another changing the world with my leadership and my excellence, then that is going to be something that will motivate you to get up in the morning, get ready for the session and really actively be there. So another thing I think you should create for yourself is that space around the online setting that you're going to participate. The computer, the desk, the room you're in. Are you in a library? What is the setting? Create for yourself a comfort zone, a beautiful little space that, you know, once I walk into that space and I connect online, I'm no longer just sitting right here at home or wherever you may be. I am actually connected to my entire class, to my lecturer, and I'm in a new experience. And this is my comfort zone right here from which I start this experience. So create your space. And I love the word excellence, by the way. And yes, I do call all our students agents of excellence, not because they're perfect, but because they get up every morning and try to be the very best they can, a little bit better from the day before. So what is your excellence about? Well, if you get up in the morning, you better get ready for this. The next time you have your class, are you looking the best you can? Are you groomed? Because if you would be walking into our classrooms on campus, we would expect you to be perfectly groomed, really set for the best that you could possibly be. And it starts from the very first element of the morning. I always joke about the fact that, or I ask the students, did you make your bed this morning? It's a simple thing, but the discipline you start with every single morning truly makes a difference. And so we want you to be there mindfully. We want you to be ready for it. Get everything ready, all your tools and devices ready. And before you get ready to kick off your class and join the session, make sure you are the best that you are. So that would be a few tips for before the class. But then what about during? I'm sure all of you, this is no, is no secret science, but is more difficult to follow. Listen mindfully. I always ask our students, as soon as we start a course in a new term, there is an old song, is kind of a techno song that goes right here, right now, right here, right now. That's what you should be. If you're connected, if you're online, if you're on this very call right now, I want you to be right here, right now, and not think about the meal you're going to have later on today, the dinner you're going to have later on today, or the date you're going on online, maybe later on this evening. Leave that for later, because you're right here, right now. You're here to learn the best possible way you can. Another thing is engage with your colleagues and peers online. Engage the lecturer and show that you are in there. The more you engage, the more you get out of it. And actually, the more you engage, the more your peers also learn from that session. So that's a very important and relevant topic to think about as well. And this one right there is something that I got a confession to make. I'm pretty lazy when it comes to studying myself. I do not like repeating myself when I'm studying. I do not like doing a lot of exercises and everything. When I am studying and learning, I want to sit down, I want to listen to an engaging lecturer, and I want to take notes, really great notes that will help me learn why I'm actually taking the notes. And taking notes down on a piece of paper is really powerful. That's why I got the next slide, which is actually a picture of the notes that I was preparing for myself for this very session that we're talking about right now. Take notes. And by the way, science says that when you use a pen and a paper and you take notes, it finds a special path to your mind and your brain, and it helps you learn better. Now, I know everybody's a different kind of learner, but it is truly useful. So that's one of my key tips also when you're in the class. But then at some point, the class comes to an end and then you leave. So what can you do afterwards? Well, after, ladies and gentlemen, sit down for yourself and summarize what you just did and you learned. Put down the key elements that you learned. Start thinking about it. Did this make sense to me? Was I just wasting my time, or did I really pick up 3 key things that I could write down right here and I could share with somebody else? Maybe I got a brother and sister at home that I can go share with. Take it down and think about it. That reflection is truly powerful. And then one thing after that, if you find there are things that you still haven't figured out, make sure you start interacting with your lecturers and your peers And by the way, we enable both. You're able to contact your classmates. You're also able to reach out to your lecturer. So these are a few items that I truly believe that if you think it that way, which actually applies to also a normal environment when you're learning. What do I do before? What do I do during? And what do I do after? Then you can enhance your experience, because I want you to go into a session and know you are doing this for you and that you will learn the most if you engage the most. I hope this makes sense, because now we're about to hear wonderful Sophia, who is right here with us, and her experience about this. And so I'd like to hand it over to our dear Camille, maybe to reintroduce Sophia.
Okay, so actually it will not be me asking the question, but it's going to be Irina who will ask the question and interact with Sophia.
Wonderful, Irina.
All right, so yeah, welcome everyone again. Yeah, so my name is Irina Cheshko. I also just from MSM team, and today I will be happy to ask Sophia some questions about your experience with VLE. Sophia, can you hear us? Are you with us?
Yes, I'm with you, yes.
Okay, so wonderful. So where are you now, by the way? Are you in Switzerland?
Yes, I'm in Switzerland right now. I'm currently in Lausanne, just visiting some friends, yeah. But I moved to Co not long time ago, exactly like yesterday, so yeah.
All right, so you decided to stay in Switzerland and do your learning online.
Yeah, because in my opinion, it's so much better, because I had a choice to come back in September or February. And for me, it's just harder to follow because there is a huge gap that you don't really study, you just have a vacation and you start from week 6 or 7. And of course you forget what you did during February sessions, so.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Okay, so by the way, what was your first impression about VLE? How did you react to that?
Well, first of all, it was something unusual because I was used to going to classes, being with my friends and like enjoying it. But at the same time, I liked it because I don't know, like for me, it's easier to focus and to pay attention. Of course, there are some classes that they're a bit boring, that it's really difficult to focus, but I like it. Like I find it a good idea. So yeah.
What do you like the most? I mean, like the classes that you have, or
the classes, or
oh yeah,
what I
about
like
the
most.
platform. Yeah, what do you like the most about the platform and this type of learning?
First of all, I like to have meetings with my group mates because some of them are in China or like in Russia or other countries. So it's easier to connect and you can see each other, and I mean, you focus and you just work on your project. So I really enjoy doing that. And during the classes, I just like it because I feel like I have a private class, so I can just ask the questions to my teacher and like feel free, and not like during the classes when everyone are staring at you and you can't really ask a question. So I feel pretty confident having classes online, and I still have like a lot of motivation to focus, to follow it. So yeah.
All right, but are there any challenges, by the way, apart from all the good things for you? Is it challenging for you to use the platform?
I mean, of course there are some, because sometimes for me it's really hard to focus, especially if we have classes at 8:30 in the morning. And sometimes also there's a technical problems, like you just disconnect from the Zoom, or like your microphone doesn't work, or there's too much sound at the back. But there's more positive things than negative things, I would say.
Yeah, great. Thank you. And well, I also see the question in the chat. What campus, like what school are you studying at? If I'm not mistaken, you're a student of IHTTI, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
And could you please just tell our listeners a bit more just why you decided to choose this particular school?
First of all, I'm really interested in design because during my high school years, by the way, I finished my high school in Switzerland too, and I did a lot of like art, creative stuff. So I find myself as a creative person. So I really enjoy having interior design classes, and that's what I want to do in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And I heard about this school from my grandparents, from their agent, because I have a cousin in HAM. And I remember when I visited IHCTI, I really enjoyed it. I like the director, the atmosphere, people around, that it feels like family. And I really like this type of atmosphere when you feel comfortable and confident and not shy. And yeah, and then I had a lot of different possibilities to go to different universities, but then I thought about it and I decided to go to IHCTI because first of all, I like hospitality and I find it a really good degree because there's a lot of different paths you can go, and interior design too. Like, for example, when I was in BA1, I didn't find it as exciting because we didn't do much, but when we started B2, it became more interesting, and I had some classes of like Photoshop, 3D modeling, and I'm really passionate about it. I really enjoy it. So yeah.
Great to hear. Thank you so much for answering.
No problem, no problem.
Camille, maybe this thank you very much, Sophia. Camille, maybe this will be a good moment for you to quickly run over the different schools, because people might not be familiar with the fact that in SEG, Swiss Education Group, we have a variety of schools.
Yes, correct. Yes.
Sentence for each of them, so that, and then Max, sorry, we can continue with the lecture.
Yes, I'll just say a few words. So as I mentioned before, so we have an alliance of 4 leading hotel schools and also 1 culinary arts academy. So our hotel school, we have SHMS, Swiss Hotel Management School. So here we focus mainly on hospitality and also events. We are offering both a bachelor program and also master programs. The bachelor program is for the students who finish 11th grade. So once you got your attestat in Russia, you can join us and you can start the first year of our bachelor program. And for the master program, the entry requirements, you need to finish to get a bachelor in any discipline, and then you can join for our 1-year master program. Also, all the lessons are taught in English, so you also need to get the level of English equivalent to IELTS 5.5 for the bachelor and 6.0 for our master program. So SHMS is the first of our hotel school. You might see maybe on the back, I will go maybe closer. So that's the campus. It's an amazing palace which opened in 1902. And now that's where our students have the chance to live and to study. The view is amazing, overlooking the Swiss Alps and Lake Geneva. So I have to say, Max, I mean, I know you like Luzern, but the view from Co is quite amazing. So it's just like a perfect place. And then we have also IHCTI. So she talked about it, Sophia. So it's more about hospitality and design. We have César Ritz colleges, where actually Goran studied there. So you might talk more about it than I. So here we focus more about hospitality and entrepreneurship. There's also a business plan at the end of the studies, which is really interesting for the students to do. And then the last but not the least is HIM, so Hotel Institute Montreux in the city of Montreux. And here we specialize about hospitality and business. And also students in the second year, they can focus more into human resources, luxury marketing, finance, or senior living industry. And also one point I would like to add is also that our students are doing internships. So students, they also have to do internships either in Switzerland or abroad. That's part of the curriculum. And that's really important that we don't only focus on the theory, but there's also a practical side, including during the studies as practical classes and also as an internship.
So maybe, Camille, this is a point to mention that the virtual learning environment that Sophia is experiencing, we are also implementing in César Ritz College starting in April, and this is why Max is here to talk about that. And this could be an amazing opportunity for the participants. Camille?
Yeah, correct, exactly. So we are offering a virtual learning environment as of April right now. So there is two options. Students, they can do it in the campus, as Sophia is doing right now, or they can also do it off the campus. So the students from Russia, for example, if you'd like to start in July, and as all the embassies are currently closed, you'll have the chance to start off the campus, so from your own country, virtual learning environment as of July. And then in October or in September, depending on the school you choose, you'll be able to come, hopefully, to Switzerland and study on the campus.
So without further notice, sorry for interrupting you, Max, but feel free to continue about the amazing virtual learning environment that students can experience starting July in Switzerland. So Max?
Thank you very much, Goran. Very relevant topics you were talking about, absolutely. And that is exactly what we're doing, focusing on developing the best possible experience, learning from our colleagues in our other schools. And that's truly the power of Swiss Education Group, bringing together different types of schools with different specialties. But as we go along the presentation, I'm going to talk about the three things that I believe we do truly well across our schools. And I think it all connects to exactly what everything that we were talking about. So let's try to connect everyone to the slides. Let's see how it goes. Are we back with the slides? Excellent.
Yes, correct.
So the three remaining topics, briefly, I will do about 5 minutes of each. But obviously we said career mastery with the art of hospitality. Now it happens to be that the parts that we're doing now is for now being taught online via our VLE experience. And we hope that that is a wonderful path for our students to take. But I was also asked to bring along a little bit about what I believe that the future will hold and what are the challenges out there in a working environment. Because part of the reasons that we all educate ourselves is, of course, to be able to build great careers and move along. Now, I'm going to share with you two things. One of the things is one of the main challenges that I continuously talk about out there in the working place. And another one is the 3 points that I consider being true challenges in the future as the future of work continues, also taking into consideration what we're experiencing right now. So before doing that though, I'd like to share with you a little bit about why I do what I do. I never start a presentation before I actually share that with any audience, because it makes a little bit more sense before I talk about anything. So you're listening online. If you were all in the one room with me, I would just be asking you guys, this is what I truly believe, that life's not about the number of breaths we take, but the moments that take our breath away. Now, if you agree with that, I would ask you to raise your hand. And by all means, you do have the chat function. You're welcome to actually raise your hand. And I'm already seeing a bunch of hands being raised. That's excellent. So if you believe in that, well, life is truly not about how long we live, but the special moments in our lives, there is a big challenge, because this is what I believe, and everything I do with our schools and within hospitality is to make sure that people wake up in the morning and truly have the maximum of the amazing breathtaking experiences they can have. Now, why am I saying this and why is this relevant, you may ask? Well, let me tell you a little story, if you don't mind. Now, actually, I would usually stop my slides and tell the story, but let's do it this way. It looks fine anyway. Many moons ago, I was much younger and much better looking than this. I was in my early 20s, and I was in business school in the beautiful city of Gothenburg in Sweden. And I was very active and engaged with the student body and doing a lot of different projects with the business community. And I was actually the president of the business community of our student body, negotiating with businesses in the region to get sponsorships for the companies to hire our students from our business schools and to build this relationship, which is something that, of course, Swiss Education Group does as well. Very well connected to the industry across the world. And so I was doing that over there, and I loved it, because I was just a poor student eating spaghetti and pasta every day, more or less, and not being afford to shop anything special luxury. But I loved walking around dressed in a suit, because I had to do that to go to meet companies. And so I really truly felt like a true businessman. And now I'm saying business. By the way, I love the way we say business in Mother Russia, which is, you know, I always say that when I'm meeting students from Russia, it's the way everybody should say business, and it's truly business. And I think it's excellent. And let's go back to the story. One day I went to some of these meetings, and after my meeting, I was still wearing a suit, feeling like a businessman. And I walked into a beautiful department store. Now, the picture you see in the slide, of course, is not Gothenburg, but that department store is a luxury department store in the beautiful city of Gothenburg. I walked into the men's department looking at clothing, of course, not being able to buy anything, but just looking. Now, in the back of the corridor and in the shop, there was this wonderful, beautiful lady working there, beautifully made up, and she saw me from distance and started walking towards me with a big, beautiful smile on her face. And I thought, oh no, not because she was walking towards me, but because she was definitely going to try to get me to buy something. And of course, as a poor student, I couldn't afford anything. So fair enough and sure enough, I was standing there and she kept walking closer and closer with a big smile. And she said, "Hi, did you find anything?" And I just smiled back at her and said, "Thank you. I'm just looking, you know, but, you know, no, I'm just looking mainly." But then she kept coming closer and closer to me, still with a big smile. And for a second, and this is me in my 20s, very young, and, you know, and I was single. I was thinking, wait a minute, maybe she is flirting with me. Maybe, just maybe, we're going to go for a cup of coffee or a honey cake if we would have had that in Sweden. Now, this continued. She got closer and closer to me, so close that I was like, wait, she's definitely flirting with me. We're definitely going for a cup of coffee. And then she did this. She got so close to me, I was like, okay. And she put her hand on my wrist, looking me deep in my eyes. And I was like, well, this is interesting. But then she removed her smile and she got very serious and sad, looked me deep in my eyes, and she said, "I am so sorry I have to tell you this, sir, but I hate my job. Coming to work it feels like a suicide. I can't take this anymore. You look like a businessman. Would you know where I could possibly look for work?" And as you can imagine, I was absolutely shocked. And my first thought was, no coffee. But then my second thought was, I can't help her. I'm just a poor student. And I have to explain this to her. The only thing I came up with is like, listen, there's a store downstairs that I saw that were looking for somebody to hire. Maybe you should talk to them. And still today, I remember that story because I wish it was today, because I could have helped her in a much different way, helping her to focus on a different way to handle her career. But this is the point here. Everything I do, every single way, and everything we do in Swiss Education Group is to make sure that our students do not just find a job. You don't need education to find a job. We want our students to truly find a career where they keep growing and enjoying what they do every single day as much as possible. And actually, I am that fanatic about this that I don't even think we should find a job or a career. I want you to find a purpose, because once you find a purpose, then everything changes for you on a daily basis and you go through the challenges of life in a whole different way. Why am I sharing this? And I think this is a problem out there. Well, let's have a look at the numbers. There is a company in the US called Gallup, and they do a lot of surveys and around the world, asking thousands of people, do you love your job and what you do on a daily basis? And they categorize people in 3 different categories. And here are the numbers. People who are disengaged, people who are actively disengaged, who really, really hate their jobs. And if you like your job and working with them, they're going to make sure you don't like it either. And people who are actively engaged, actually loving their jobs. Here is the problem, ladies and gentlemen. Only 13% of people. Again, if you were in the room with me, I would count 10 of you and I would ask you, so how many people is 13% out of 10 people? Why don't you actually start answering this right now in the chat? How many people is 13% out of 10 people? Do we see any results? Yes, I see a lot of ones. Of course, it's just one, right? Is one person is 10%, and then 3% of a next person who could be a very happy shoulder. But a happy shoulder is not going to get you anywhere. So 1 out of 10, ladies and gentlemen. And that is very sad indeed, which leads me to this situation. A lot of people don't like their jobs. Right now, the world is in a situation where people are losing their jobs across the world. The CEO of Marriott Corporation, which is the largest hotel company in the world, just recorded a video just last week when he said that they've lost 75% of their business, which is more than 9/11 and 2009 together. So this is impacting the world, and people are losing more of their jobs. But believe me, they're not going to be happier about their jobs when this is over. So how are you going to make sure that you're not going to find yourself in a career, in a job that you don't like? Let's keep that in mind, and let's focus on this. What are the challenges of the future that I believe is out there versus your passion and what you love doing? The reason I got the robot right there in that slide is a lot of people believe that robots are going to take over the world. Everything's going to be automated, and there is no more need for people to do any labor or work. I think that is true to a certain extent. The requirements of the workplace will change, definitely. But it will require new things. And what I think it does require is for you as a professional, as an individual, to truly understand what are the things you are truly great at, what is the service and value you can offer to the world, so that the world comes back to you and asks for your services. We're going to talk about this in the next slides, when I'm going to show you a little tool that you can actually help figure this out a little bit for yourself already. Another thing that I believe that the future will bring, because it's going to be a tough working position, and people don't know the future of jobs. Most of the jobs that exist today, they will not exist, and there will be new jobs coming up. Now, EQ and your readiness and ability to change is going to be absolutely essential. EQ is, of course, emotional intelligence, and means me understanding my own emotions and the emotions of others, me being able to control my own emotions and to understand and influence the emotions of others. When you're requested and asked to change, that is very, very important that you are able to do that without completely panicking and having anxiety and not knowing exactly what to do anymore. Because if you know what you truly do of value, you can always modify that to the requirements and the demand of the world. So following that, let's go to this. There is a wonderful writer and an expert in education called Sir Ken Robinson in the UK. And he always talks about the idea of the element, which actually comes from a Japanese concept called the ikigai. So let's briefly talk about that. It's called finding your element. To truly be in a position where you wake up every morning and you do what you love and you do something you're great at, so that the world appreciates you. This is the exercise that we're going to talk about later. It's all about analyzing the things you love, that being anything that you really enjoy doing every single day. If you were not even paid to do it, you would do it anyway, right? So when I ask the students in class, what are the things you love doing? A lot of students just start saying, well, sleeping, playing games, computer games, yes, gaming. That's perfectly fine. Put it down in your list, because eventually you're going to get to a few things that are truly valuable for you, right? Then the next topic is, what are the things you're good at? Do you have a special skill? Something that even though you don't recognize it yourself, others are telling you, hey, you seem to be pretty good at this. Maybe you should be on TV. Maybe you should be writing a book. Maybe you should write poems. Maybe you should ride horses and compete. Who knows what it is? But it's discovering the key skills that you have, because once you do that, there is a little area of space right there where you see in the slides where you can define the value that you can offer to the world as a product, as a service, as perhaps a business that you could create to show what it is that you specially can create. And we have a lot of entrepreneurs around the world who do exactly that. So bear this in mind as we go on towards the idea of hospitality with this presentation, and we come back to the challenge of it. This is a quote that I truly love. Do not go where the path may lead. Go instead where there is no path and leave a trail. And that is exactly what we want our students to do. And I keep asking our students, what's your dream? It doesn't, maybe it sounds a bit crazy for yourself. So, well, these are all my dreams. But if you don't have a goal and a target, you're not going to get anywhere, no matter how good you are. So that is very important. So this is something that's my dream, to actually lead the world of hospitality into a new place altogether. And I believe that the hospitality is an art. Now, you may ask yourself, why should I care about hospitality? Why? Now, well, let me give you 3 key reasons, because I believe that hospitality is an art, and it's an art of 3 different elements. So bear with me. The first element, if we talk about hospitality, not as an industry, but as an art, the number 1 thing is the way you are able to welcome guests, clients, customers, patients, your family members, anybody to your business or to your home, wherever you work. That's the number 1 step in the art of hospitality. The second one is your ability to break apart and to put together and create an experience for people which they never forget, they want to tell everybody else about, and they want to come back for more of. So once you become that as well, you've learned to welcome them and you learn to offer them an amazing experience. Then we go to the third part, which is the most important part, because then you build long-lasting relationships with those same people. If you're able to master that, well, guess what? You actually mastered a special art, which is absolutely needed across industries. I did mention Marriott Corporation before, the largest hotel company of the world. You know what they call themselves as a business? They call themselves, as a business, they call themselves the business of happiness, because they believe that hospitality and the art of hospitality actually is the same as happiness. Why do they believe that? Let me give you 2 researches that are really relevant for this, all right? Number 1, there is a study done by Harvard University which says for 80 years it's been going on, and they say that the number 1 key element in happiness, and they studied people for 80 years and still are studying people to see how they lead their lives and how happy they are or not, all the way until they die. And they found out that the most important element here is your relationships. Your relationship with your partner, with your family, with your boss, with your customers, with people you deal with each and every day. That is the number 1 key, according to this research, for happiness. If that is the number 1 key to happiness, and we just said that the art of hospitality connects to relationships, then yes, you could argue that if you become a master of hospitality, you're also becoming a master of happiness, maybe. There's a second research which is really interesting, which connects to the second part of hospitality in the art of it, and actually was done back in the 70s. There was a researcher who was trying to understand, can we, by observing couples, married couples, see by analyzing them if they are going to stay together in the future or not? That's a pretty fascinating investigation to do, an observation to do. And they did that in the 70s, and they found a method that by 90% accuracy, they could tell whether a couple was going to stay together or not. So they did the observations, and 9 years later, they investigated and came back to the couples that they investigated, and the accuracy was 90%. One of the key ratios there was the ratio of 1 to 5. What does that mean? Well, for every negative interaction you would have in a conflict situation in a relationship, you would have to have at least 5 positive interactions in order to balance that negative interaction. Because otherwise they could say, well, the relationship is not going to last. And they were right. Guess what? When you're designing an experience, it's all about interactions. We call them, in the world of hospitality and the customer experience, we call them touch points. So every single touch point actually also connects to that. So this helps you to become a master of relationships, perhaps, and also master of happiness, perhaps, if you truly dive into it. Hopefully it makes sense for you. But hospitality, as say, if you look at it as an art, it actually exists everywhere. There is not a single company in the world that doesn't need customers and doesn't need a great relationship with their customers and doesn't need to offer great experience for their customers, because otherwise they go out of business. So I hope that that connects to the idea of everything you do. Now, let me develop this a little bit further, because we just talked about the experiences before. And now I see my dear colleague Camille and Irina laughing, and Oksana, I'm sure, as well, because they've heard me talking about this before. Let's do a little experiment. If I ask you to hold a wonderful orange, and I'm afraid I lost the word for orange in Russian, can somebody help me with that?
Just apelsin.
That's right. That's the Swedish word, apelsin. Спасибо, Irina. So if I would ask you to hold a special, just a normal, actually, orange in your hand, which I have right here, and I would ask you to hold it like this, so that I would give you a superpower to be able to squeeze this orange and squeeze the juice out of it, then I would ask you, what would come out of the orange? What do you think would come out of the orange? And I'm sure everybody would say, well, juice. And then you would say, well, orange juice, I hope. Now, let me ask you this. Has it ever happened that you squeeze an orange and apple juice comes out? Or small little bananas start falling out of the orange? Or pineapple juice? Not really. So the point I'm trying to make here, I'm not going to do a magic trick with the orange. The point I'm trying to make here is that when you squeeze the orange, the only thing that can come out of it is orange juice, because that's all it got on the inside. When you are stressed, when you are challenged, when you are trying to develop and trying to perform at your best ability anywhere in whatever you do, whatever is going to come out of you is going to be that special magic and quality that you have on the inside. And that is super important, because that's what you need to define. That's what you need to discover to be able to be successful out there. And that's exactly what we do. If I go back to the slides, that's exactly what we do in the world of Swiss Education Group, because we try to, from the day one, to try to get you to focus on these three things. Number one, the proper business education. Number two, the art of hospitality, so you can build relationships no matter where you go. And number three, because we do the internships across our programs, no matter which one of our schools we're talking about, you get to get the experience and sample the experiences that you put inside of you, so that you can reproduce and better those experiences for people out there. So what's that magic juice you have on the inside? What's your magic that you can deliver to the world that is very special? And again, I keep asking you, what are the things you love? What are the things you're good at? How can you combine it all together so that you can shape and form your career, so you don't only have a job, you don't only have a career that you're growing in, but you don't like your colleagues and your boss. When you have a purpose, ladies and gentlemen, you know why you do what you do. You get up in the morning, and no matter how the challenges might come and hit you in the face, you're still able to say, I know why I do what I do. I love what I do. And this is what I do, so bring it on. So that's exactly what we want our students to do across our group. And so this brings us, ladies and gentlemen, to the wonderful challenge. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to briefly analyze and tell me and us by sending a wonderful email, and Irina is going to talk about that soon. Tell us, what are the things you love? What are the things you're good at? How can you combine them so that you create some special value out there, maybe a product or a business, maybe something of value that the world hasn't seen, or something that you can do better than anybody else? Because that's what the world is going to need from you, to get actively engaged and to do something really special. And I know when I was traveling around Russia, every time I'm there and every time we have these, I'm interacting with our lovely students from Russia, there is a lot of excellence in the agents of excellence that we have in Russia. So having said that, send your emails. I don't know if Irina, you want to say something about the email, or you're going to share that?
Yeah, it's being shared in the chat. Max, thank you very much. Extremely valuable advice. It was very interesting, even for people like us with lots of experience. So thank you for sharing. I think we're all gonna go back home now, squeeze an orange, and think about our future. So
I know what I'm gonna do with mine right here.
Absolutely, absolutely, excellent. I see some of you shared online in the chat your passion. So you're halfway there on your assignment. There are two questions that came out, Max, that I want to ask to you, and then Irina, maybe you can talk about the assignment. So Max, the first question is, what do you think are the problems or the challenges that new managers, novice managers face in the industry?
Let me make that more generic, perhaps, because first of all, the industry will never be the same again. With what we are going through right now, everything will change. So the challenge, one of the main challenges, if we look at leaders or people who are aspiring to become leaders and managers, and there's a difference between being a manager and a true leader. I think one of the key elements is going to be to create this balance of the requirements that you have in terms of delivering your goals, and at the same time being a true hospitalitarian, as we say, somebody who understands, loves hospitality, and is able to take care of his or her people, is able to make them as engaged as they possibly can be to deliver the results as well, at the same time as he or she is also delivering the results that the business is requiring from them. So I think that dual challenge has always been there, but now the requirements and the demand of the industry as a whole for results is going to be so high that we need even more EQ and emotional intelligence. I think emotional intelligence, to understanding yourself and being the strongest that you can possibly be, is the #1 element that's going to be on demand, even for people who are simply aspiring to become super managers going forward.
Thank you, Max. Thank you for the answer. Second question is very easy. What do you teach?
Very good question. If anything, I truly believe the why that I explained in the beginning. I try to get our students to understand who they truly are and to get out there, wake up every single morning and ask themselves, how may I serve? Not to serve and deliver a cup of coffee. That's not what I mean with service. The question you ask yourself, what is it that I can serve the world with so that the world serves me with everything I aspire to and I desire to achieve? You do that, there is something called reciprocity, and that's what I try to teach our students, to have a mindset of hospitality, understand the art, and then get out there and realize their dreams in the best possible way they can. Hospitality is excellence together with empathy, and if we can achieve that, that's what I try to actually teach. And there is a course in our program called Introduction to Industry Experience, where I focus a lot on personal development in the very first term for our new students, so that they truly can have this hospitality mindset.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing. I see a lot of questions about the project, being good students. Excellent. So Irina, I'll let you answer those, and then Camille, maybe we can go back to talking about scholarships and the other questions that are related to that. So Irina, maybe talk about the project.
Yeah, sure. So again, if you don't mind, I will switch into Russian, so everyone understands just the idea of the project. Что необходимо будет сделать? Вам сегодня после урока придет письмо на почту, с которой вы регистрировались на сегодняшний урок, с адресом, на который нужно будет отправить ваш проект. Да, сейчас он тоже есть в чате, да, этот адрес, но мы его еще раз продублируем в письме, чтобы никто ничего не потерял. К заданию, да, рекомендуем подойти творчески. Состоит, да, оно из того, что необходимо будет, да, проанализировать, да, о том, о чем сегодня, да, говорил мистер Макс, да, в своей презентации, те вещи, в которых вы хороши, что вы любите делать, и как вы это можете совместить и применить в вашей карьере и, возможно, да, построению будущего, да, в бизнесе. И как это, да, то, что вы делаете, отвечает сегодняшним, да, потребностям в мире, сегодняшнему обществу, И вот такое, да, ваше размышление, это может быть в виде, да, какой-то иллюстрации, это может быть в виде презентации небольшой, это может быть в виде текста, да, на английском языке. Необходимо будет отправить на наш email, а мы уже обязательно поделимся с мистером Максом, который лично, да, просмотрит все ваши работы и выберет, да, ту, которая, по его мнению, да, является работой.
If I can give a personal tip, the easiest thing to do is probably to get the 3 circles and fill in each circle what you can offer and then combine it. But there's another question for you. By when shall they send their assignment, and what are the prizes?
Deadline. Max, what is the deadline the students asking?
As an academic dean, we always have to talk about deadlines. So today is Thursday, I believe, anywhere in the world. And so shall we say by Monday morning?
Good.
You can use the entire weekend to explore, talk to grandma, grandpa, anybody you think has something to share and can give you feedback and input. Because remember, sometimes people see special things in you that you don't really believe in until you start believing in what they believe in, see in you. And that's very powerful.
I also want to emphasize what Camille said in the beginning, that when we look into your projects and we look into your essays, we will show them, of course, to Max, and Max will choose one student to have a personal, I would say, session. It will be like 30-minute session. It will be one-to-one session, which is very valuable because it is a session with the dean of César Ritz colleges giving his advice to you. So it is a very valuable prize, I would say, that Max would pay his time to talk to you and look into your essays. So please take your chances and work on the assignment attentively and be creative. Yes, and we will choose also the winner to present with a book. It will be a certificate to one of the most popular bookstores in Russia that you will be able to choose either a paper book or online or electronic book that you wish. So yeah.
Thank you very much, Irina. May I just say one thing? I saw a very, very interesting question here that I did answer on the chat, if hospitality will survive or not. I think it was Alina. Was it Alina?
Yes, Alina.
Yes. Excellent. Thank you for that question, Alina. Whenever I'm talking to leaders in hospitality and other businesses right now these days, I often say this over and over again. I truly believe what we are seeing around the world with the healthcare workers and doctors and all that, taking care of patients, taking care of each other, taking care of the elderly and especially vulnerable people, that is hospitality, that care and special care. And I truly believe right now the industry is hurting, but it will be back, and it will be back with a vengeance. And I think that it will be a whole new era where through hospitality, we can truly make an impact across the world. That is what I do, why I do what I do. And I know a lot of my great colleagues here on the call, they believe in that too.
Amazing words, Max. It's very hard to say anything after that, but Camille, would you like to say a few concluding words?
Well, it's tough to talk after Max, obviously, but
Спасибо, Camille.
I've been seeing these orange things many times, but all the time it's really entertaining, and I love it. So no, I just like to thank you to all of you. I know it's already quite late in Moscow and some of the other regions. So I just want first to thank all the panelists for being there. Also to thank Sofia for being with us today and sharing your experience with our students. And also Goran for being answering all the questions on the chat. Thank you all for this. And yeah, as you mentioned, I mean, this right now is a challenging time for our industry, but it's going to recover. It's an amazing industry to work in. So I really encourage you to get in touch either with Irina or with Oksana, also with myself. I share my contact details, and we'd be happy to organize for you counseling sessions. And once situation is back to normal, we can also meet one-to-one, and we'd be happy to welcome you to Switzerland. It's an amazing country to live and also to study. So please feel free to contact us, and we're more than happy to help all of you.
Thank you very much, Camille, for these words. Oksana, maybe if you want to say a few words as well, and then feel free in the meantime to ask a few last questions. So, Oksana.
Yeah, thank you very much, first of all, Swiss Education Group, for organizing this online lesson for MSM participants. It's very valuable for developing it. So I hope the students and all the participants really enjoyed it, and it will be valuable for them, first of all. And thank you for all the participants in these hard times of you being online 24/7, doing your assignment at school. It is great that you find time to join this extra lesson. It means that you are motivated, and hopefully you are the leaders of the futures because you spend time and you invest time in your self-development. Thank you very much, and I just want to wish you good luck, and we're here to help. You can contact us any day or night nowadays, so if you need any advice, we're here to help you. Thank you.
To all panelists, we're getting a lot of positive thank you notes. I appreciate also everybody being here. It was a real pleasure. I'm gonna stop the recording now. That means you can